What if I told you that the life you're living right now is heavier than it should be? Not because of what you don't have, but because of what you refuse to let go. Think about it. Most people are not truly trapped by lack of opportunity, but by the silent weights they carry every single day. The grudges they never release, the toxic people they keep entertaining, the habits that drain their energy in secret. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And that's exactly what happens when you don't quietly delete what's poisoning you. You start to believe life itself is against you, when in reality, it's the baggage you're carrying that's pulling you down. In real life, this looks like the person who stays in a job they hate for years, secretly resenting every morning, but never daring to step away. Or the friend who scrolls endlessly on social media, comparing themselves, but never admits the damage it's doing to their spirit. Or even the family member who allows guilt and obligation to chain them to people who never bring them peace. If you really want clarity, strength, and peace, you must master the art of quiet removal, silent deletion. Because not everything deserves an announcement, and not everyone deserves to know your next move. So today I'll show you 11 things you must delete from your life in silence. 1. Negative self-talk. The most dangerous enemy is not always out there. It's in here, inside your own head. That small whisper that says, "You're not good enough. You'll fail. You're not worth it." This inner voice is subtle but deadly, because unlike critics from the outside, you can't walk away from it. It follows you into the shower, the mirror, the bed at night. Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." Yet when negative self-talk dominates, you stop choosing. You start believing the cruel stories your own mind tells you. Imagine this. A young man, incredibly talented at art, keeps telling himself, "There are better artists out there. Why even try?" Years pass, and he hides his sketchbooks in drawers, while others with half his gift share their work with the world and succeed. His prison wasn't lack of talent, it was the enemy within. Negative self-talk poisons your future quietly, drop by drop, until you no longer recognize who you could have been. The way out is not announcing to the world that you're changing. It's a silent surgery of the soul. Cut out those words, one by one. Replace "I can't" with "I am learning." Replace "I am nothing" with "I am becoming." And here's the secret. Don't tell anyone. Don't broadcast it. Let the world notice the glow returning to your eyes, the strength in your walk. Let your transformation speak louder than words. 2. People who drain your energy. Some people don't love you. They love what they can take from you. Your time, your attention, your emotional fuel. They call you only when they're in crisis. They unload their gossip, their bitterness, their endless drama, and leave you feeling like you just ran a marathon, except you never moved from your chair. Jung wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." But notice, not every reaction is positive. Some people don't transform you, they corrode you. Like acid, they eat away at your peace, your hope, your creativity. Think about it. You come home from work drained. You just want to rest, but a friend calls, ranting for an hour about how unfair life is, how everyone betrays them, how nothing ever works. When you hang up, you're more exhausted than before. Or that family member who criticizes your every decision, cloaked under the phrase, "I'm just being honest." Here's the truth. Energy is sacred. Your spirit is not a public charging station for people who refuse to heal themselves. And the silent power move is this. You don't argue. You don't explain. You just stop feeding the leak. Slowly, quietly, you pull back. At first, they may accuse you of changing. They may say you're distant, but protecting your inner life is not selfish, it's survival. Because once you stop giving your light to those who waste it, you'll have the strength to shine where it truly matters. 3. The need for constant validation. When you depend on likes, approval, or applause, you hand over your power. Every time you refresh a post just to see who approved of you, you're silently telling yourself that your worth lies in other people's eyes. This is a dangerous loop, because the moment approval is absent, your confidence crumbles. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Notice the word privilege. He's reminding us that your authentic self is not something that should be begged for recognition. It's something sacred, something you must guard. Think of the young artist who abandons her passion for painting because no one liked her latest post. Or the man who never feels satisfied with his promotion until his friends clap for him. In both cases, they've given away their inner authority. The truth is, silence is the breeding ground of real growth. When you move in silence, you're no longer performing, you're transforming. Real success rarely announces itself at the beginning. It matures quietly, and when it finally emerges, it's undeniable. So, delete this addiction. Validation is borrowed energy. You don't need applause to breathe, and you don't need likes to rise. True strength doesn't beg to be seen. It simply reveals itself when the time is right. 4. Comparing yourself to others. Comparison is a thief. It robs you of gratitude, joy, and progress. In silence, scrolling through someone else's life, you start to believe their highlight reel is proof that you're falling behind. But life isn't a race, and there is no finish line. Carl Jung once wrote, "The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases." Think about that. What nourishes another person may poison you if you try to force it into your life. A student might see a classmate succeed in business while still in school and feel late. A woman might see her friends married while she's single and think she's behind. A man might compare his modest home to another's mansion and silently conclude he has failed. But none of these judgments are rooted in truth. They are rooted in illusions created by comparison. When you walk your own path, the noise fades. What if your delay is your protection? What if your slower pace is the very thing that allows you to avoid mistakes others rushed into? Gratitude cannot coexist with comparison. One always kills the other. Delete the silent scrolling. Delete the measuring tape of social media. Freedom comes when you realize you are not behind, you are not late, you are not them. You are exactly where your soul needs you to be. Sink excuse. Every excuse you make is a silent thief of your potential. I don't have time. I don't have money. I don't have support. These words may feel true in the moment, but often they are self-made walls, barriers built inside your own mind. Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." Excuses keep you looking outside, blaming time, money, or circumstances. But when you turn inward, you realize that progress is rarely about having the perfect conditions. It's about having the courage to begin despite them. Think about it. How many people say, "I'll start the business when I have enough capital," only to watch years pass by while someone else starts small and grows big? Or how many say, "I'll work on my health when I have more time," while their body pays the price every single day? Excuses feel like comfort in the moment, but in reality, they are chains. Delete them. Replace excuses with small, consistent actions. Don't wait for the right conditions. Create them, and don't announce your intentions to the world. Just do it quietly, because results speak louder than explanations. 6. Fear of what people will say. Here's the truth. People will always talk. If you fail, they'll whisper about your mistakes. If you succeed, they'll criticize your methods. If you stand still, they'll mock your lack of progress. You cannot win the approval of everyone, so stop making it your goal. Jung once wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." That means your path, your mistakes, your victories are yours alone. The moment you give power to the voices around you, you lose touch with the one voice that truly matters, your own. Real life is proof of this. Consider the student who wanted to study art, but was told it was impractical, so they studied law instead, only to feel trapped years later. Or the entrepreneur who almost abandoned their idea because friends laughed at it, until that idea turned into a thriving business. If they had surrendered to fear, their story would have ended before it even began. Delete the fear of what people will say. If you must fall, fall forward. If you must rise, rise regardless. Let them talk while you work in silence. Because when your results arrive, those same voices that once mocked will turn into echoes of admiration or silence altogether. 7. The habit of over-explaining. You don't owe everyone an explanation for why you're changing, growing, or protecting your peace. Yet so many people fall into the trap of over-explaining themselves. They feel they must justify every decision, why they left that job, why they don't answer certain calls, why they're no longer available for chaos. Here's the truth. Every explanation you give is energy spent convincing people who often have no real investment in your well-being. Think about it. Have you ever explained yourself to someone, only to realize they weren't listening? They weren't trying to understand. They were only looking for cracks in your reasoning to pull you back into old patterns. Carl Jung once said, "The right way to wholeness is made up of fateful detours and wrong turnings." That means your growth will never look logical to everyone else. It doesn't need to. Your path is your own, and detours that don't make sense to others may be the very steps that save you. In real life, imagine someone deciding to quit drinking. Immediately, friends might demand reasons. What happened? Don't you trust yourself? You think you're better than us? Over-explaining only fuels more criticism. But when you delete the need to justify, when you move in silence, your actions speak for themselves. Silence becomes a boundary, and boundaries are far more powerful than arguments. 8. Toxic attachments. Some relationships are like old houses. They creak, they leak, and they weigh you down. But you stay because of nostalgia. You remember the warmth they once gave you. Toxic attachments work the same way. Whether it's a relationship that's draining your soul, or a friendship that only exists because of childhood memories, holding on too long can suffocate your growth. The hard truth. Not everyone is meant to walk with you into your future. Some people are chapters, not lifelong stories. Jung wrote, "We must be able to let things go, for they belong to the conditions of our existence." This isn't just about letting people go out of anger. It's about letting go because your survival and evolution demand it. Think of the friend who only calls when they need something, or the partner who secretly envies your progress, so they mock your dreams to keep you small. You don't need a dramatic speech or a loud breakup. You don't need to prove who was right or wrong. You simply step back, quietly, firmly, without guilt. Because silence doesn't mean weakness. Silence means you've chosen yourself. And when you finally delete toxic attachments, you make room for healthier connections, new opportunities, and most importantly, your peace. 9. The illusion of control. Some of you are suffering, not because life is cruel, but because you keep gripping too tightly on things that were never yours to command. You try to control the outcome of relationships, hoping if you say the right thing, they won't leave. You replay the past in your head, as if constant rumination could rewrite it. You obsess over the future, believing that enough worry will guarantee security. But life is not a puppet on your strings. The more you try to tighten your grip, the more things slip away, like sand escaping through your fingers. The truth is this: you were never meant to control people's choices, the turning of time, or the winds of destiny. Carl Jung once said, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parents." Think about that for a second. It's a warning about what happens when we try to force others into living according to our script. Control becomes a prison, not just for you, but for the ones you're trying to hold captive. Real-life example? You might try to control your partner's decisions, believing it's for their good, only to suffocate the relationship. Or you might cling to the illusion that you can control your child's future, when in reality, you're only projecting your fears onto them. The harder you try to control, the further away freedom feels. Delete that illusion, in silence. Accept that the only true power you have is over your own actions, your focus, and your response. That is where real strength lives. 10. Regret that chains you to the past. Some of you are dragging regret like a heavy suitcase everywhere you go. You replay the night you said the wrong words, the opportunity you let slip, the person you betrayed or the one who betrayed you. You torture yourself thinking, if only I could go back. But regret is a chain that locks you in yesterday, while life is happening here, today. Carry it long enough, and it begins to define you. You stop seeing who you could become, because you're trapped in who you once were. Carl Jung once wrote, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." That is the antidote to regret. Your mistakes are not curses. They are teachers. The shame you carry is not meant to weigh you down forever, but to awaken you into wisdom. Think about it. Maybe you cheated yourself out of an opportunity a year ago, and now every time you want to try again, that regret whispers, "You failed before. You'll fail again." Or perhaps you regret a relationship that ended, and so you keep yourself from loving again, afraid of repeating the past. But what if regret could become your compass, not your cage? What if instead of rehearsing the pain, you rehearse the lesson? In silence, delete regret by reframing it. It was not the end of you. It was the shaping of you. 11. The fear of starting over. This is one of the deadliest fears, because it doesn't just paralyze you, it imprisons you. So many people stay trapped in the wrong job, the wrong city, even the wrong relationship, not because they don't know they deserve better, but because they are terrified of beginning again. Think about it. How many people cling to a career that drains their soul, convincing themselves, I've already invested 10 years, I can't just walk away now. Or someone stays in a toxic relationship whispering, if I leave, I'll have to start over, and what if it's worse? This fear tricks you into believing that starting over means failure. But that's not true. Starting over is not the end, it's an evolution. It's not throwing your past away, it's using your past as fuel to chart a wiser, bolder, and more authentic course. Carl Jung once said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. This is not one of his more popular quotes, but it captures the heart of this fear. The pain of letting go, of beginning anew, is often the very birth of a deeper consciousness, a truer self. Without that rupture, you stay asleep, trapped in what is familiar, but slowly suffocating. Think of the person who loses their job after 15 years. At first, it feels like death. Their identity, their routine, their security is shattered. But fast forward, and many discover that it was the greatest gift in disguise. They start a business, move to a new place, or finally pursue the passion they ignored. Or the woman who stays in a loveless marriage for decades because she fears loneliness. But the day she dares to step into the unknown, she finds not only her independence, but also friendships, creativity, and sometimes even love that actually feels like love. The fear of starting over keeps you chained, but when you delete it, you discover the truth. Nothing is wasted when you restart. Every failed attempt, every painful ending, every closed door becomes part of your strategy. You are not starting from zero. You are starting from experience. And that makes you unstoppable. You see, life is not just about surviving the chaos. It's about understanding the hidden patterns within yourself that keep attracting the same pain, the same struggles, the same confusion. Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Think about that for a moment. How many times have you found yourself saying, why does this always happen to me? Whether it's falling into toxic relationships, constantly ending up broke no matter how hard you work, or even sabotaging your own happiness, you might think it's bad luck or destiny, when in reality, it's your unconscious patterns running the show. Jung believed that what we refuse to face in ourselves doesn't just disappear. It shows up in our daily lives, in the people we meet, in the challenges we face, and even in the way we keep repeating the same mistakes. That's why true freedom doesn't come from running away from your problems. It comes from turning inward, from confronting the shadow within, and finally taking responsibility for what you've been blind to. So here's the real challenge. The next time life feels unfair, stop and ask yourself, is this fate, or is it my unconscious directing the script? Because once you shine a light on that inner darkness, you gain the power to rewrite your story. And if this message stirred something inside you, if you feel the weight of these words, it means you're ready to start that deeper journey of self-discovery. So don't just watch and move on. Subscribe to this channel, because together we'll keep diving into the truths most people avoid, but the ones that truly set you free.